Saba's stories. Betrayal of Princess Jana. Once upon a time in a faraway land lived a young man named Anil. Anil lives by farming. One day when Anil was walking in the forest, he came to a cave. He had never seen that cave before. He entered the cave. At the entrance of the cave, he saw two large statues as if they were the guardians of the cave. He saw a lot of jewels and gold inside the cave. When he was about to touch them, suddenly the cave started shaking. He hurriedly picked up a flute and a small bag of money that was in front of his feet and ran to the cave door to get out. When he reached the outside of the cave collapsed behind him and no one could enter that cave. Anil regretted that he had only taken a small bag and a flute. He sat in a corner and looked at them. He used to say to himself,
I wish I could take more of those treasures and change my life and those around me with it.
Anil opened the bag and saw a gold coin inside. Taking out the coin, he noticed that the bag had become heavy again. He opened the bag and took out some more coins. Again the bag became heavy and filled with coins. Anil realized that this bag was magical and could always produce gold coins. So he was very happy and said,
Thank you, God. Now, with the help of this bag, I can help the people of the village and save them from poverty. May this flute also have magical power.
Then he took the flute to his mouth and played the flute. As soon as the flute sounded, some soldiers appeared in front of him and said, Yes, sir, we are ready to obey you. He played the flute again. Soon a large army appeared before him. That flute was also magical. Anil turned to the army and said,
I have nothing to do with you at the moment.
Suddenly the army disappeared. Anil happily ran towards the village, but decided not to tell anyone about the two magical treasures. As time passed, people got to know Anil more. Anil helped all people with his power and wealth. People gradually made Anil their ruler and listened to his orders. King Anil also built a big palace and his palace door was open to everyone. He helped all people. Little by little, the fame of King Anil reached the neighboring countries. In the neighboring country there was a young and beautiful princess named Jana. The princess was very greedy and selfish. Jana liked to be the owner of the best things and it didn't matter to her what hardships the people of her land endured. Princess Jana, who had heard the fame of King Anil, decided to go to the king and discover the secret of this great wealth and power through deception and trickery. Princess Jana had a very attractive and beautiful appearance. She easily mesmerized everyone with her beauty. The princess headed towards the king's land and his palace. Jana entered the king's palace and went to meet Anil. King Anil, like others, was mesmerized by the sight of Princess Jana. Princess Jana also deceived her and said that she would like to stay with him forever. Anil was also deceived. He became very fond of Princess Jana and believed his words. A short time passed. They got married and had a big party. One day Princess Jana asked him, What is the secret of all your wealth and power? Where do you get so much money and gold coins that you help everyone but your wealth never decreases? King Anil, who was attached and trusted him, showed his magic bag to Princess Jana and said,
I will help everyone with the help of this magic bag.
Princess Jana, who had found out about the king's secret, stole the magic bag from him that night and left there with his army and returned to his own country. The next morning, when the king found out about this, he was very upset and sad and decided to go to Princess Jana's land and take back his magic bag from her. King Anil, who had never told anyone about his magic bag, decided to travel alone and bring the bag back. The king was on his way for several days. When he arrived in front of Princess Jana's palace, Jana's soldiers stopped him. Princess Jana asked his soldiers not to allow him to enter and take him away from there. King Anil, who was alone and had no choice, used the power of the flute. He called an army of soldiers. His soldiers fought with the army and soldiers of Princess Jana and defeated them. King Anil entered the palace and went to Jana. Jana, who witnessed the defeat of his soldiers, was very surprised by the appearance of King Anil's army. So he came to King Anil and said,
My dear king, I took the bag to help the poor people of my land, so that they can become rich like the people of your land and live in comfort. I intended to return this bag to you soon. Please present this bag to you.
Then she returned the bag to the king. King Anil also accepted Jana's words. Princess Jana asked him to stay in her palace for a few days and then return to her country. A few days passed. One day Jana asked Anil, It is very strange. Your army will appear with a gesture and disappear with a gesture. What is the secret in this matter? King Anil also took out his flute and showed it to Jana and said,
This is the amazing power of this flute.
Knowing his secret, Princess Jana again decided to steal the flute and the bag from King Anil. At night, when King Anil was sleeping, he took the bag and flute from him and immediately ordered his soldiers to arrest King Anil. Anil, now realizing the true nature of Princess Jana, was very upset. Princess Jana ordered that King Anil be taken to the side of a nearby valley and thrown down to die and perish. No one had ever survived that valley. The soldiers did the same and threw King Anil down the valley. King Anil fell down the valley. He was clinging to the boulders and going down. Suddenly, he fell on an apple tree and grabbed its branches tightly and went down from the tree without getting hurt. He sat under the apple tree for a short time and was sad. He could not believe that Princess Jana had done such a thing to him. Next to the apple tree, there was a small reservoir with clear water. Anil, who was quite hungry, picked an apple from the tree and bit into it. Suddenly he felt a change in himself. He went to the sink and saw his face in the water. His face was very old and wrinkled. He was very saddened by all these unfortunate events and did not know what to do. He was so upset that when he tried to get up, his foot got stuck on a small stone and he fell into the water tank. Suddenly, he felt himself restored and rejuvenated, younger and more beautiful and stronger than before. King Anil, who had noticed the magical effect of those apples and pond water, came up with a thought and drew a plan. He picked some apples and poured some pond water into a bottle and set off. He climbed the rocks of that valley with difficulty and went to the market. He ate one of the apples and became old, so that no one would recognize him. He was shouting and saying,
I have magic blue. Whoever drinks this water or rubs it on his face will become very beautiful and young.
Little by little, people gathered around him. He would give everyone a few drops to put on his face and become young. Little by little, his fame spread all over the city. One of the maidservants of Princess Jana, who heard the news, went to Princess Jana and explained the matter to her. Princess Jana, who always wanted the best things to be only for him, ordered his soldiers to go and capture the old man. The soldiers arrested King Anil and took him to the palace. No one knew King Anil with that change of appearance. King Anil went to Princess Jana and saw his flute and magic bag by Princess Jana's table. He noticed that a large amount of coins had fallen by Jana's side and on the floor. Anil said to Princess Jana,
I did not tell the secret of these magic apples to anyone. But if you give me gold coins, I will tell you their secret and I will make you stay beautiful and young forever. I will make you live forever.
Princess Jana said,
All these coins belong to me and I will not give them to anyone. If you love your life, it is better to tell me this secret as soon as possible. Does not want at all what is the need for you? Apples must have a magical effect and by eating them I will stay young forever.
Then Princess Jana pushed the old man aside and took some apples from her bag and kept biting them one after another. Suddenly, her face changed and became very ugly. Jana started screaming and went in front of the mirror. At this moment, King Anil took the opportunity and went and took his magic bag and flute. He then took the last sip of water and his face returned to its original state. Princess Jana, who was very surprised to see King Anil, only realized that she had been tricked. King Anil also blew his flute and many soldiers appeared. They soon took over the palace and threw Princess Jana out of that palace. Princess Jana, who was old and had no money, was walking in the street and the market and crying to herself. King Anil united that land with his own territory and saved all the people from the mischief of Princess Jana. Since then, no one knows what happened to Princess Jana and what happened to her.